speaker today is an artist and a designer here in Seattle who draws inspiration from food and human connection. He describes his art as playful and reflective, and I would say that describes Nino himself. It's a wonderful balance. I would say his art is also, he himself is very inspirational to everyone who knows him. There's a lot of people here who know him today, or a few at least. And everyone I know who knows Nino is very inspired by how committed he is to both design and art. His art has been in galleries and competitions across this region, throughout the US, and places like Spain and Dubai and Indonesia, where he's from. He also has a gallery and studio in Pioneer Square, and so you can see some of this magic for yourself. Next Thursday is the Pioneer Square Art Walk, and he will have an open house then. So very excited that, to hear from Nino today, and thank you so much, Nino.
Thank you, Lee, for the that's exciting introduction, which is kind of weird, but awesome. I'm privileged to be here. Thank you again for inviting me and everyone to be here early this morning. I'm not an early morning person, but this is great. So today, I'd like to share a little bit about this idea of duality, sweet and spicy, I call it. It's a way for me to navigate these two worlds, and yeah, I'd like to share with you today, and hopefully get something out of it, a little bit sweet, a little bit spicy. Let's see. Before I start my presentation, I'd like to introduce my cousin, Sheng Wang.
You know, as you get older, you do a lot of things for the very first time. This is the nature of growing up. But sometimes you do things you thought you would never, ever do. Like I recently bought pants from Costco. That's a big deal. That's a new chapter in your life, right? Because when you buy pants from Costco, that's when you don't care anymore. That's when we let go of our egos and we begin our spiritual journey. Because you hear people say stuff like, I'm not concerned about other people's opinions. I don't care about what they think. That is just talk until you back it up with the Costco pants purchase. That's how you let them know. He for real. He don't give a damn for real. He wearing Kirkland pants. Don't mess with him. Dude, don't mess with him. When you see somebody wearing Kirkland pants, you know two things. Number one, they do what it takes to live. Number two, but they're not afraid to die anymore. Yeah.
Okay. That's it. That's my top. Yeah, I love him. That's my cousin, Sheng Wang. He just doesn't know that I'm his cousin. But Sheng. Yeah, you can watch him at Netflix if you want to continue follow him. Super, super cool. There's a reason for that clip, by the way. I'll come back to it. It's not just a random thing. But to give you a little bit of background about myself, I'm originally from Jakarta, Indonesia. Grew up there until I'm about 18 and moved to St. Louis, outside St. Louis, actually, in Missouri, for an exchange student as high schooler. And then after that experience of real American culture, super cool, I moved to Seattle for art school and slowly morphed into design. I think it's also pretty typical story that I hear a lot. Wants to be artists, slowly become design. So it's not unique. And then after Seattle, I moved down to Pasadena to continue my design school and graduate from there and come back to Seattle. And I'm here ever since, doing design and art at the same time. growing up, this is me. I'm the square one. I'm trying to be in the circle of my friends. But growing up, I feel totally different. I'm so square, and I'm literally different than all of my friends around my neighborhood. This is how I feel almost every time I interact with them. They make fun of me. Why your elbows so sharp? Why your eyes so straight? All those mean things that kids do, which is kind of sad. But that's the reality of me growing up. And that's also becomes my inspiration, I guess, throughout my life. In the past maybe 5 years or so, or maybe 10 years, thinking about that experience, and I see these different shapes, different color of people, that becomes an inspiration of my latest work in creating art. And I see these different shapes and color are different spices in my life. Sometimes they're comfortable, sometimes they're awkward, and that becomes the inspiration of my paintings. I do work like this. It's kind of dark here, but the idea of combining the spices into one, the dark chocolate strawberry with wasabi, something that you don't want to taste. It's kind of odd, but in my world, I can do whatever I want. In abstract art, kids can do that too. It's so tasty in my world. Another example, green bean puree with chocolate sauce. Another one, Metamucil with spinach oat milk. You don't want to eat this, but it's inspiration from, actually, I took Metamucil at that time. So bring it on. So these are my latest work in my painting life. Now looking through maybe 10 years or so, I've been thinking about this duality in my life between my design work and my artwork. My right side, right? Right side is my sweet, and the left side is my spicy. And I'm always trying to think about how can I embrace these two worlds. I'm growing up in a place where art is not a thing that you want to pursue as a career. I think this is also a common theme that I hear over and over within art community or even design community. You always, if somebody asks you, what do you do? I'm an artist. And then the next question usually, are you doing that full time? Is it a hobby, right? Even my dad, hey, are you still doing that art thing? Are you gonna do design, right? Yeah. I mean, those kind of things. It meant well, I think, the questions, but also it's messing up my head. I'm always thinking about, from this list, you can see them. This is in my head a lot, throughout my life, still now, too, in my head. Art is only a hobby. You're not gonna make enough money. It's gonna be hard. You need a backup plan, very unpredictable. Find a practical career. You're gonna be starving artist. It's only a side gig. You're gonna struggle, no guarantee, risky. The last one, my favorite, you make money when you're dead. Okay, that's pretty challenging, I guess. So I feel like maybe I should pursue that because it's so challenging. So these are all negative talk that fill my head throughout my life until still now too. These things bubble up, over and over. Not complaining what other people, projecting to me. It's more like in my head. This is the thing that I always try to overcome. Another part of the negative in the duality, there's a positive side. The list is a little less, but maybe I'm cheating because I'm putting in 2 columns. But as an artist, there's the 3 things that speak to me personally. It's about personal insight and growth. I think as I continue working on my art, it's forcing me to get to know myself a little bit more. What I like, what I don't like, the shapes I like, the color I like. I just have to be super honest with what that means to me as I continue practicing daily or weekly, making my art that inform who I am. So that's a big plus to me. Another big plus is direct impact. Direct impact to my clients, direct impact to my students. I'm a pretty shy person. I don't know why I'm here. I like one-on-one interaction, not one-to-many. And I see the impact of somebody who bought my art. It's impacting their personal space. That's a big thing for me. Or a student who found a way to do art a better way or faster way, or found a new voice for them. It's a big thing. So that's a big plus. Another one is diverse income, which is kind of like mind-blowing to me. The negative part, right, says you're gonna suffer. But actually, there's a diverse income in the art making. So I'm trying to consolidate these two during my, throughout my life still now. How is that even possible? I thought the society said, you're gonna suffer. No money, all this stuff. But actually, there's a lot of different options as an artist. Another thing that I found out over the years making art, that I kind of have to think about it a different way. In the past, I'd make art and then put it on the side, on a website or with gallery and pray for the best. That's artists, right? You make art. You just make art all day. That's it. That's what you make, be an artist. But after I think about it some more, I think to make it sustainable as an artist, I have to think about it as a business owner. And that's okay. I think there's 2 train of thoughts in that. There's a purist saying art, money, they don't gel. Art is art, money is money. Okay, maybe, but for me, it doesn't work. I need money. Money is not evil. Money is the fuel for me so I can make more art. It's just the way it works to me. I think I need to pay bills, Kids going to college, expensive. So it's like, I have to think about it as a creative, think about different avenue to make money with the art. And nothing's wrong with that. And it's not like super clear in my head all the time either. The negative talk, limiting belief in my head always bubble up, right? I'm not all in my art. I'm not a full-time artist. That means I'm not real. I'm not the artist yet because I'm not doing it full-time. I'm still doing design. That's always the battle that I have to kind of, deal with. Go to Costco, get some pants, make sure I kind of, quiet down that voice and say, I don't care. So, as a creative and being experiment, I've been experimenting with one of these stream of income. I call it as the Spice Art Club. It's a paid membership art club where in the beginning I was just curious and also looking at the needs that I kind of found in my Instagram. I use Instagram to share my work and connecting with customers and followers, and I see the needs of artists needs a space for them to feel safe, especially abstract artists. I see a lot of people saying, yeah, my family love my work, and they say, that's great. What is it? It's abstract art. Or another one, yeah, my kids can do that too. All of that, all that comments. Some of them it's innocent. It's not like bad or anything. It's just part of society to say, those kind of things. And so, as I developed this space during pandemic, I tried to come up with the reason why am I doing this. As part of the, creating something new, you can't sleep because you don't know what you're doing anyway, because it's so new. So I had to come up with the list of why am I doing this. So I come up with this manifesto. It's more for me to figure out, especially when I'm on the low time, like stressful, I come up with this thing and trying to remember again, why am I even doing this? Again, the big thing is the space is a safe space for artists, mostly online. We don't do this in person, online get together. It's a place for artists to be themselves, to ask silly questions, to share work in progress, make fun of themselves. It's basically a place of free judgment. Can you guys read this?
Yeah.
I'll let you read this for a minute. It's very hard to read. Okay, that's okay. But basically, we experiment often in there. Experiment with exercises, visual exercises. And sometimes we ask ourselves to get clear on why we're doing things, and sometimes we don't know what that is, and just keep doing it. We also meet online and listen to each other's point of view, and we also share our point of view. Sometimes we go back to our studio and have to be quiet because we look within and then work. Sometimes we have to do that too. My art is my story, and I have to say that authentically. It's also a place for reassurance that we all have it in us, the art within us. We all used to like to paint or drawing when we were a kid. So I like to make this space to be, hey, it's okay to be a kid again. Just tap into that. Another one is, just remember, it's only paint. No big deal. You mess it up, go get another paint. It's fine. Be kind, give more. Give, not giving my art for free. It's more like giving yourself to the people outside your bubble too. Share your work outside. You don't have to share your face, just your work, because you never know that people sometimes react positively, hopefully, right? And that could make their day. It's not about perfection. It's about incremental progress. Just like going to the gym, you go to the gym, maybe you don't see, results, but over time, you will see the results. One of my favorite is about the process. The process is more sacred than the art itself. This is kind of lift a lot of weight out of me when I realized this. Making art, like selling art is important. This is the duality that's blow my mind too, again. Making art to sell is important. But if I forcing myself to think about how I sell it, that's more about outside validation that is not sustainable in my mind. So it's about enjoying the process of making daily routine or weekly routine, depending on everyone's schedule. But enjoying the making of it itself, that's more important than the final product. So we talk a lot about that in the club. So finally, it's just about rinse and repeat. You learn, you make, you share, and you let go. You make it, you let it go. Don't worry about it. They're grown up. Let go, and make another one. Just keep doing that practice. So yeah, in the club we do a lot of art challenges, exercises, discussion about colors, thinking about shapes, forms, where it will inform our voice, basically. And last year in August, I had the privilege to take this space from Sean Pike Shell Restore program. I got the privilege to use this space for whatever I want. So I used this space to showcase some of my members' work there too. It was a fun space. We also did another experiment as a business, right? Experimenting with in-person workshop at the space. We did group shows a lot. We did an opera show there, night market, and dinner party for my daughter. That doesn't make any money. That's like spending money, but that's okay. So going back to my sweet and spicy, the reason I share with you about this is that maybe it's a reminder for myself and for you, maybe. If you ever had any inclination, a little bit, you want to do something than what you're doing right now, maybe it's okay to follow that and tiptoeing, test it if that makes sense. I don't think there's a right or wrong about it. For me, the negative talks always bubble up. It's just part of me, I guess. But I enjoy both of these worlds, both of these sweet and spicy. Not planning on choose one or the other. I'm enjoying both, and it gives me more depth in the flavor. So I will keep that. And also, I always remember what my cousin always says. It is the spiritual journey for me. So let's continue on that. Okay, thank you. Questions? Any questions?
Nino, thank you so much for sharing.
Yes.
I was wondering if we could go back, if you could read your manifesto, it was a little hard to read from back here. It's good to hear it in your own voice. And I would love to also hear about how you created your manifesto. What was your process for that?
Okay, do you want me to read it first?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Go back. Okay. Yeah, this is nice to when you read it in a quiet moment. So, first and foremost, this is your safe space. Experiment often and be your true self. Get clear on your why. If you don't know your why, keep working anyway. Listen to others' point of view. Share your point of view. Quiet down your heart and listen to your intuition. Your art is your story. Say it authentically. You have it in you. You are uniquely beautiful. Paint that. Turn it upside down or let it sit for a while. It's only paint. Be kind and give more. Take your practice seriously. Don't take yourself too seriously. Incremental progress. Perfection is not what you're looking for. Be a knowledge sponge. The process is more sacred than the art itself. Learn, make, share, let go, repeat. Thank you. And the second question is how?
What was your process
process? Did you write it all in one sitting, or did it come together over time?
I think it was in one sitting. Yeah. Open my notes on my phone. That's the process. I start typing while watching Netflix. No, I don't know what. I don't remember. But what I remember was after I launched the art club, maybe a week after that, I think when I launched it, I was like, if I had one member, we're good. One member. That's all I need. I just need to help one person. And turns out it's more than that. And I couldn't sleep. I was like, what happened? Like, what am I supposed to do? These people committed, some 1 month, some 1 year, and that means you're in it. You're committed. What am I supposed to do? And at that time, like, you probably have this experience. You wake up at 3, and then what happened? So I think at that 3 o'clock, I was like, I need to come up with my why, because that's the foundation, so I can regulate my emotion when, things like that happen at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, yeah, this is why I'm doing it. It is hard right now, but this is why I'm doing it. It's worth it. So that's how it come up. Thank you for the question.
I was just curious on your evolution into an abstract painting. Were you going from at any point did you paint realist, moved on to that, or did you always work kind of abstract painting? What was that journey like for you?
Awesome. Thank you for the questions. It was, I would say, about 6 years ago that I started doing abstract art. But before that, again, I found this is pretty common with artists, that we try different things. That's what I did. I tried different things, really. From I used to go to my room to paint as a form of therapy. I mean, I'm still doing that as a form of therapy. I used to paint in oil, doing anything and everything from flowers, landscape, beach, those kind of theme. And then slowly morph into more of a graphic design, like character design type of thing. So, and then morph into abstraction. I think the abstraction happened when I was in school in Pasadena. I had a poster design project. And in that poster design, I have to come up with the reason, the concept of that poster. And it was really hard for me at that time, struggle to come up with good concept. And I was just like, I hate this concept thing. So I just do, abstract work with the words on it saying, I hate this, blah, blah, blah. You just write everything about my feelings into that. And then I cover the writing with an abstraction shape. I still have them. It's black and white. And I think that was the turning point, not turning point, more maybe a hint of, this is kind of fun, It's kind of therapeutic. So I think from that on, it just kind of lingered in my head. Maybe someday I'll do that, So, I think organically it just morphed into, maybe when you get a little bit older, you're just trying to be honest with yourself, like, what is it that you like to do? And I think abstract is what I like, even though some people might think that their kid can do that too. That's okay. That's perfect. Every kid should do that. So that's organically evolved to that. Thank you.
Okay, we're running a little behind, so can we give a huge round of applause